and welcome to another episode here on Pod of View. My name is Faith Onyebujo. I'll be your host for today, and I'll let the others introduce themselves.
Yes, I'm Shigeru. Glad to be here again.
It's Oluwakemi. Yes, nice to be here today.
I am Anayo, your very good friend.
Okay. So to start this conversation, our first topic that I want to look at is the recent debacle that happened between Senator Nwaebonyi from Ebonyi State and, of course, Madam Oby Ezekwesili. We know that there was a recent Senate Ethics Committee meeting that convened to investigate the situation involving Senator Natasha. And a heated exchange occurred between Senator Nwaebonyi and
Former Minister
Oby, former Minister of
Education.
Now, while specific details of this debacle might vary depending on the source, of course, it's generally involved a disagreement, or should I say a confrontation between the two individuals regarding the proceedings, the issues at hand concerning Senator Natasha, or the conduct of the committee itself. So the disagreement likely, it became public due to the intensity or the prominence of the individuals themselves. So let's get your reaction with regards to, what transpired. Who wants to go first?
Well, maybe I should try because I was sitting pretty close to.
Yeah, you were exactly.
Okay.
You were
to
there.
them.
So let's know.
Before the professor of law, that's the lawyer to Mr. Zubairu who brought the petitioner. I was sitting pretty close to all of them. At the beginning, Senator Nwaebonyi wasn't focusing on the former Minister of Education. In fact, between them was the lawyer to the Senate President, Mr. Obani. So there wasn't, from observation, Nwaebonyi was more interested in addressing the chair of the committee, that's Neda Emasue, while Oby Ezekwesili was also trying to get the attention of the chair because she wanted to be put on oath. Initially, she disagreed, but she wanted to be put on oath. And the chairman wanted to know why she was there. So she introduced herself and she said she represents Nigerian African women in diaspora. And they had the headquarters. There's a headquarters of that group in Brussels. And she was there as a witness to Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. So at that point, Senator Nwaebonyi wasn't looking her direction, even though they were sitting pretty close. And that continued until when she was finally asked to speak after the lawyer to Mr. Zubairu, the petitioner, had spoken. Nwaebonyi also tried to get the attention of don't forget that the chairman and members were lawmakers like himself. So he was sitting on the side of the witness. And then Oby now said, look, can you just shut up? Let me get the attention of the chairman. It was at that point that the bubble burst. So it wasn't like Senator Nwaebonyi sat there waiting for her to make the move. In fact, both of them were not at each other's neck until that comment came. So Nwaebonyi's reaction can be seen from, it came to him as a surprise that that comment came from the former minister. So he reacted the way he reacted. Of course, he went too far.
I mean, 100%. I'm with Anna. You're in saying that it went too far. This also speaks to conduct of lawmakers in the country. When you just think about it, his reaction to her statement, even though as a lawmaker, she shouldn't tell him to shut up. She should have said, "Oh, can I make my statement, or can you let me finish?" There are a lot of myriad of ways she could have communicated what she had to say, but she's saying shut up. Obviously, that should not have come out. But then his reaction to it was sort of like using a bulldozer to break a palm kernel, right? It was completely unnecessary. It was completely unnecessary. He just went off, insulting her, calling her a hooligan and all that. It was so unnecessary, and it speaks to character. And right after that, he went on Arise TV that evening and gave a whole speech justifying why he insulted her the way he insulted her. It just speaks to the reasoning of lawmakers in the country. And when you look at that, you look at how the whole thing with Senator Natasha has played out. Look at everything that has happened in the past, since January actually, in the Senate. it doesn't put the Senate in a very good light, in all honesty. It's a bit shameful, to be honest. And I can only imagine what the closed door conversations are like, between the senators, especially at a time like this. I think they if I were in the Senate, I would be thinking of hiring a PR consultant right now to just kind of fix up the image
Do
of
damage
senators.
control.
Exactly, they need to do major damage control right now.
Kemi, you want to?
For me, yes, I agree with the fact that there is need for damage control for the Senate at the moment. Then again, let's also let's look away from who started it, who didn't start it. What has happened? Does it give credence to what Senator Natasha is laying claims to? Have you thought for a second that if a senator could do this to someone old enough to be his mother, what really is the Senate like behind closed door? Do women have a say within the Senate? These are questions that are begging for answer in my head.
Yeah.
Away from all of that, I think also the National Assembly, it's time for, I said this, I guess that was 2 weeks ago, the management of the National Assembly, the leadership of both houses of the National Assembly need to get on a table to have a frank discussion. I'll take us a little back.
A frank discussion on
their image.
Okay.
In the House of Representatives, that was in the 9th National Assembly. I don't know, Anayo, if you recall the incident between James Faleke and the Minister of Labour then, Ngige.
Yeah.
You remember how he got to name calling? You're talking to me, the VI boy, you this mushing boy. Like you're laughing. Like, what is it?
Yeah.
Can we, I still agree that politics is about judging and worrying, but can you leave the other person with
What does
his
that
or her
mean?
dignity?
What's judging and worrying?
Yeah, judging and worrying, meaning we can talk peacefully, we can
Yes.
also go on each other's neck
Yeah.
just to get my point to be heard.
Okay.
But in doing that, can you leave the next person with his or her dignity when you're done? I
Yeah.
mean...
Yeah. I mean, it speaks to a larger conversation. If you look at global politics, all that has been going on. Just a few weeks ago, we saw a clip of President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and just briefly take it away from Nigeria, having a conversation with the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, in the Oval Office. And that was just an embarrassment, that entire conversation. So we're moving to a time where like politicians don't see the need or don't, for some reason, feel the need to have decorum and act in a way that's very classy. And, I think this time of just ruthless, transparency, for whatever reason, has become the trend. Because, like I said, Nwaebonyi did not later on go on Arise TV and apologize and say, I shouldn't have reacted that way. He was, if you watch the interview, he was justifying it that same day. Because if you go on Twitter, there are clips of him giving another interview via like Zoom or something. He was wearing the exact same outfit. And he was taking shots at...
He went from the plenary to...
Exactly. He was even taking shots at Senator Natasha, saying, not tasteful things about her. So I don't know, this whole thing of...
These guys are products of the society. The chamber doesn't change who they are.
So I'm very, very sorry to cut you off, but in that statement that they are statements of the society, that's what, when we talk about change, right? In Nigeria, change doesn't happen from the bottom up, it happens from the top down.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you're there and the fact that maybe you even grew up on the street, or the fact that you struggled and came from nothing and grew up in an environment where you saw horrible things happen, does not mean you should replicate that, especially at that level. Nigerians are looking up to you. People want to be like you when they grow up.
You may be disappointed if you think they are not Nigerians. They are Nigerians like you and I. Don't forget that recently the Senate president had an outburst with Senator Siraki Dixon. He almost went personal. These are human beings. These are Nigerians.
Yes.
These who are coming from different.
You would
aspects.
think that we have passed the time in Nigeria where senators or even state members of legislature will go and carry the mace and run away with it.
But that happened here.
You would think we're past. You would think we're past that now.
You have not even started because
we have not started.
You have not started.
That's not a very happy.
No, yes. Why I say you have not started? We just left the chamber yesterday where disagreement arose over the mortalization of someone who you saw the division.
Yes.
So we are still growing our democracy, and the legislature is the strongest arm of democracy. So these people are part of the growth.
Yeah,
so
but-
you're expecting that. I'll tell you something.
Okay.
When this current leader of the Senate did say, look, the legislators are the most hated arm of government. That, yes, people
Whose
see them.
fault is that, though?
Well, that's
It's a perception
not in
problem.
Nigeria.
It's a perception
globally.
problem.
And that's why they are the ones that throw chairs. In almost
It's
even
a
in
per-
bigger democracies, you
Yes.
see senators, lawmakers throwing seats at
But
themselves.
you, so that's the thing. You
Because
would,
they are closest to the people, one. They get the criticisms more than those in the executive. The judiciary are always relaxed. in their chambers.
Anayo, I'm not cutting you short.
Okay.
Now you said because they are closest to the people,
Yes.
they feel the pain of the people.
No, then I didn't say so. I said they get the criticisms
in
more.
this instance,
Yeah.
it's not this fight is not
About the people.
About the people. It's a personal thing.
No, no,
Yes,
but
Senator Oby, started all of this by saying, "Please, can you shut up?" And he got angry. Action begets reaction.
Yeah.
And all of that. But it was about him feeling you're talking to my person.
yeah,
Did
it
you
was.
hear
His reaction was simply because he
at
felt
a point-
emasculated.
Yeah,
That's
because-
just what
okay.
it was.
I was
At a
talking
point, he
about
said,
Nwaebonyi, yeah.
people like you can never be here.
That was the comment that I didn't
People
understand.
like you.
As
So
in, Madam Oby
Oby or
Ezekwesili. If she wanted to be there, if she was interested, she would have been
That
there.
takes us back to electoral process. You know, who gets there and what can you do to get there?
Bringing all of this back, right,
Yeah.
to the core conversation about perception. The fact that you said the legislature might just be one of the most hated arms, and why they get a lot
Not only
of
Nigeria.
they get a lot of heat. You would think that is more reason for them to act accordingly and carry themselves with composure and carry themselves with the gravitas that the office carries, that the office
No.
brings.
So
and we're not seeing that, unfortunately.
I would like to, because you see the thing about this, who I am statement.
Yeah.
It's not the first time we've heard a senator say that. I mean, if we go back, I think a few months ago, we had a similar situation with the Bolt driver. There was this,
the House
you
of
know
Rep,
who I am.
member.
House of-
the
he was a House of
member.
Reps member.
Yeah, so there is this issue of finding the identity in that position and forgetting that you're there to serve the people.
Yes.
But let's go back to the speech you said Nwaebonyi gave, where he was justifying what he said earlier to Madam Oby, and then later ended that speech on the TV with, "Oh, he respects her, she can be my
Yes.
mother."
She's
Now
old
I'm
enough to
wondering,
be
with
his
justifying
mother.
what you're saying and then apologizing later, does it carry weight?
But I don't think he apologized.
It means
He didn't.
he didn't
Yeah, it was
apologize.
a sandwich. It was a sort of sandwich.
No,
comment
he said I
made.
gave it back to her. and you can forgive me if I say this. I think both individuals have issues with their temperaments. Oby has been around. Oby was the Minister of Education.
Yes.
We saw how she appeared
How
severally.
she-
She
yes.
appeared severally in the Senate
Yes.
to defend her ministry's budget.
Yes.
And we saw sometimes how
Yeah,
she
she's not exactly a cool person. Let's-
and
Yeah,
Senator
let's
Nwaebonyi
get that right.
is trying to defend his principle.
Even-
Don't forget that the initiative Nwaebonyi actually fell out with the Senate president earlier
Yes.
when he was almost got into the bad books of Mr. Senate president. Suddenly he's back. And what he's doing, people see it as well. He has to do what he has to do.
I mean, that is now trying to garner favor. But if you actually
Well,
just
that's what you
if-
think.
If you just look at this microscopically, come closer, not take out all the noise, all the externals, and just focus on his altercation with Madam Oby.
Yeah.
Look at this as a gentleman, and I allow me to come from this angle. As a gentleman, you don't react that way. You don't react that way. I mean, let's be honest here. She said what she said. It was uncouth. It wasn't classy. Fine. Say whatever it is you have to say. Say, "Oh, I don't appreciate being spoken to that way." You're not in a room of people that are brawling and drinking beer. You're in a room with legislators, for Christ's sake. And to make matters worse, what you're discussing is a sensitive issue. It's a sensitive issue of sexual harassment, which is also a gender issue by extension. You would think that you would be self-aware enough to not speak to a woman in a derogatory term or in a derogatory way when you're addressing an even
That
more
will now
sensitive
back
issue.
the claim.
So in a way, this sort of thing just kind of backfired. So now,
Yeah.
what he has been able to do now, he has been able to turn a number of supporters or Natasha supporters already against him to now face him and say, look at that
But-
man who is even insulting women in the Senate.
Well,
And it I'd like us to react to the interview that Obi gave later on, because she talked about why they reacted the way they reacted, certain things that transpired regarding the investigation itself before it de-escalated to the conversation. But she also made a comment about she's happy that this happened because it shows what goes on when the camera is not there.
that's
Patriarchal society.
Yes,
Those
in
are
a
her words.
patriarchal, in a patriarchal.
well, but
society.
Obi also worked under a government as a minister. She's a gadfly. She's a critic. She's well known. I was expecting Nwaebonyi to, like Sugar said, to have gotten to understand that the Obi team came for a reason. They came to fight. And they came to fight in quotes because Zubairu was not ready to present his petition.
Yeah.
He insisted. The petitioner now insisted that Senator Natasha Akoti must be present, and he was told, "Look, she can't be present. She's been suspended." So, first, Obi came there to represent women and fight for their rights.
Yeah.
So, Nwaebonyi came to defend
His
the
principle.
president of the Senate,
Yeah.
standing close to the lawyer. So it was.
I mean, but he didn't do
But
a
like
good
I said, he didn't set out to have a quarrel with Obi.
Obviously,
It was
he did.
reactionary because yes, Obi can say, "Can you?" She said, "Can you please keep quiet?" And like you
Shut
said,
up. Can you
in a
please shut up?
patriarchal community where we live, that sounds
Yeah,
And,
I mean,
and when we felt that this is the chamber of the Senate. By the way, it was the chamber. It
Yes.
could have amounted to you saying, "Can you keep quiet, Mr. Senate President?" Even though he was not the presiding officer.
Yes.
If anyone had told that to Neda Imasu, that would have been telling the Senate President to keep quiet. But Nwaebonyi, like you said, should have known that he was on the witness side of
Yes.
the table.
I mean, like this,
And taking it to
our society is not one that's as progressive as we like to pretend that it is. Let's not mince words. There are some communities and there are some households in this country till today where if the wife tells her husband, "Please shut up," that's a slap on the face. And she will get slapped, and
No,
there will be a
no,
family
Sugar,
meeting being called because they are
Sugar,
telling
Sugar,
her
But
husband
the
to shut up.
question, the question I want to ask
Sorry.
is, if a mother tells
Faith.
Has-
Let's use the right word. When they say the lion of the tribe of his house,
There you go.
that's the right word. The lion of the tribe of his house. Now,
So it's not-
I appreciate the fact that Nwaebonyi could say she's old enough to be my mother. So is he indirectly telling us that his mother cannot tell him to shut up?
that's the question I was going to ask.
We don't know the dynamic he has with his mother. Let's
No,
start from there.
no.
We don't know his
That's-
relationship with
that
his
shows
mom.
some respect. The way when he said that,
We don't-
I saw the side
Yeah,
of
no,
Nwaebonyi.
but now the question is: so if your mother told you shut up, that would be the derogatory word.
We
to
don't
use
know.
on your
Again,
mother.
we don't know how he
Well,
talks
the
to his
mother
mother.
fi- mother figure-
We don't
because
follow him
because
to his house.
if we want to
We
run
don't
down
know.
the names he called her, there was one of the names he called her that wasn't very prominent.
They are.
You know,
We don't know.
unprintable.
Unprintable. You
Again,
don't even say
we
it,
don't know
please.
Nwaebonyi's relationship with his mother. He's an
No,
Igbo man.
but mother in
Let-
in
we-
the African sense of it, mother, well, big sister, mother,
big
So-
sister, auntie,
so-
mother, big mommy. We don't know his relationship with his mother.
But
We
they
don't
all
know
came to defend
how-
different individuals.
Exactly.
And
But
So-
one question that has been going around right now is that due to his misconduct, now, I mean, Natasha was suspended because of her misconduct. So what's going to happen?
no, Nwaebonyi didn't. The Senate, in any case, the matter of Natasha Akoti is no longer before the National Assembly. So
Unfortunately.
the committee has adjourned Senate. So there's nothing about Natasha before the Senate and National Assembly any longer. So where will suspension come? He wasn't addressing the Neda Imasue. As a lawmaker, he would have gotten some suspension. But right now,
I for one, I know that yes, that question I've heard people ask that question to say if Senator Natasha was suspended for misconduct, isn't this
in the chamber.
isn't this a committee meeting is a mini chamber?
I'm
What are we
saying
not talking
misconduct
about?
against the principal officer of the chamber. That's a different thing.
Well,
Yeah.
but also again, they've come out to say these are not. There are two
Yeah,
different
different, but
happenings. So they may not get the same result at the
Obi
end.
is not a serving lawmaker, so
So
she may
for
not
one,
get
I
that.
would have expected that perhaps somebody should have raised it. I don't know. Did anybody raise it during plenary yesterday?
No, raise what? The
To
matter of
say this happened. We didn't
no,
have
it
evidence.
is the committee on ethics and privileges that will bring all the report to plenary to say what happened. No individual. can on his own and say, look, that committee, I was there.
Even under matter of urgent public
No,
importance?
if you're not, it's a
Or personal
committee.
explanation?
It's a committee that can say, okay, this is what happened, and the chairman will give the report. But the chairman adjourns sine die.
Speaking of, for that to happen in the ethics committee was not very ethical. I mean, let me just
Exactly.
Well,
I like that point.
you
like that point.
We can't begin to sound like textbooks. We know ethics, what it is. We know what ethics
not
we
very
know.
ethical.
But it was a matter, it heated up. I mean, don't forget that the Senate feels very hot. The Homa Natasha issue.
Yes.
The Senate as a whole, not about Akpabio.
Okay.
No, they feel the matter had gotten out of hand. And
This is a case that's still in court, though.
Yes, and that's what the chairman said. Look, these cases are in court. But what the Senator Akpabio team came to do was to reboot what the Akpoti team had to say. But Akpoti team did not come to present any case. They just wanted to make demands, which they know will not be accepted by the committee.
All right. Well, this is Pod of View. Please remember to like, comment, and of course, subscribe. Put on the notification bell so you get notified every time we post something here. We'll be moving to another topic, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with you. Okay, so let's go to our next topic. Our next topic, it's recently in the USA. Yes, we're moving outside Nigeria now. Recently in the USA, a journalist was added, to an online group chat. It was not intended for them. This accidental inclusion actually led to the journalist gaining access to private, or should I say confidential information, which was shared within the group. The situation became sort of a matter of discussion, potentially controversial regarding journalist ethics. One of the questions that has come up is whether and how a report or on accident that has been, information received accidentally, whether and how it should be reported.
So we should take the first straight.
Okay, well, let me say that we're hearing all about that because it's in the United States where there's decorum.
Yeah.
People know the role of journalism, and where people know the role of what information in society. Ordinarily, in third world countries, that wouldn't make any difference. After all, the information had been implemented. Information about strike in Yemen was properly conducted. But the Americans are digging into it because it has implications.
Yeah.
It's a leak.
Yes.
And they see it as something that should be monitored. Now, as a journalist, there are two things. If you get a news that you think is exciting, it can boost the image of your media house, you'll be tempted to let it out.
Yeah.
But the urge is always there to let it out.
Yeah.
And at the back of your mind will be like, so someone doesn't bring this up, I should be the one. So I think that was happened to the guy who let that out. On the side of security, yes, it should be considered. But I tell you, more often than not, reporters consider breaking news as more important than...
And usually they want to be the first to break the news.
Yes, so that's the way I look at it.
It's an interesting happening. I mean, there are conversations of ethics concerning this as to why and how it was posted. But then the deeper question is why the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic was even in the group chat in the first place. Those are all questions that need to be answered. And then obviously, I mean, somebody has to take responsibility for this. It depends on how you look at it. Is it the chief editor of The Atlantic that should take responsibility for putting out that content, for putting out, confidential information? Or should it be the Secretary of Defense who posted, also confidential information on a group chat without confirming the members of that group chat and confirm that there was a journalist in that group chat? So it depends on the way you're looking at it. The president, Donald Trump, came out to completely just distance himself from the whole thing, because obviously he has enough going on already on his plate. He's under a lot of heat for a number of things already. So it's interesting to just watch how this is going to play out. What we know for a fact that we're most likely not going to see their Secretary of Defense. We're not going to see him get sacked or anything like that. But let's not forget, this is somebody who, during his Senate screening, was put under intense scrutiny for some of the mistakes he had made in his past and whatnot. And this, starting off like this is not really a very good It's not a very good starting point. So we're going to keep watching the story to see how it develops. But I mean, if anything, I feel for him. But we also have to just as Anayo said, the strike in Yemen did happen. It was successful. And if for nothing else, the editor-in-chief did not post it before the strike happened. He posted it after the strike happened, which means he was mainly posting it to get, the content and all the, the attention that will bring to his paper and whatnot. And he seems to be having that now. But Americans clearly don't joke when it comes to classified information. Yeah. There's a track record showing that they don't joke when it comes to intelligence, information, and things like that. So it's an interesting story, whichever way you look at it.
First question in my head is, how did he get into that group? I mean, if it's something like WhatsApp, you do your 2 steps. So when someone is putting you, when you're being added into a WhatsApp group or something, you have to, your consent.
Yeah, you have to
accept, approve before you join the page. So those steps, were they not in place?
Well, this wasn't through WhatsApp, it was Signal.
Yeah,
yes,
this was
not
Signal.
WhatsApp.
And let's bear in mind, so that the Secretary of Defense did not
Only
himself
using WhatsApp
set up
as
the group chat, right? This group chat was probably set up by one of his aides or an assistant or something.
So the person setting up the group, I mean, when you were told to perhaps set up the group, set up the platform, you had a list of people that should be there. So if, as a principal, I've given my aide that assignment to, run me through, come up with a platform with these names on it. I need to have a discussion with them right away. So it's not his fault.
Yeah.
I mean, the Secretary of State now putting out that information on that platform because it was created for that purpose.
But let me, if I may ask.
Again, Anayo, as a journalist, now I'm talking about ethics. If the information you have is going to bring down the country, what will be your gain? What will be your gain? Another question in my head, is this guy trying to be another Julian Assange? Yes. There is something called Chatham House Rule. You hear for your personal information. You hear for your personal understanding. It doesn't mean it has to be printed on paper. If it's in this part of the country, this part of the world, I'm sure they'll be looking for that guy by now.
I mean, but
I'm very sure of it.
The Chatham House rule applies in Chatham House now, no?
No, in the first house,
everywhere.
Under President Goodluck Jonathan, I was in one of those Chatham House sessions.
Yes.
And some of the things he told us about Boko Haram.
Yes.
You
were told not to.
You can't.
You have to tell me after this podcast.
For why? For why?
And they were really, because people in government were involved.
Yes, if it has to do with national security, security. If it's maybe telling Anayo something about faith, it's a different ball game. Okay. But it has to do with the country, the sovereignty of your country.
I know, but don't tell
classified information.
But I'm not a
classified
tech expert.
information. Then I mean, don't do your journalism on it.
Yeah, I'm not a tech expert, but I want to find out: is it possible to mistakenly add someone to a group? Mistakenly. It looks like this guy was mistakenly added.
I don't know.
Where was he before that?
The word mistake, makes me feel like someone wasn't doing their job because you have that person's contact. For them to be added, you have their contact, and it means
I mean, so
have the name or saved on whatever device you were using.
Then there's a process of adding.
Maybe not mistake. Maybe we can use the word accidentally, right?
Does it happen?
I mean, it has happened to me. It has happened
to tomato.
No, it
accidentally mistaken.
No, wait now. It has happened to me before. Semantics. It has happened to me before, right? Where I was sent an invitation to a group chat on WhatsApp. And I remember looking at it and thinking, I don't know what this group is about, But then I joined anyway, just, out of curiosity. And I opened the group chat and it was for something completely different. So the person who was setting it up had my number. And the process of tapping, the contacts you want added to the list, they tapped my number by accident. Right.
Yeah, but this is a different ballgame. This is about security.
So this is national security.
And I would assume that everybody was vetted. Everybody in the group was vetted before you start sharing sensitive information.
But then when we're talking on a high level like that, all the people on that group chat had national security clearance, had high security clearance.
so how
the
come?
vice president of the US was in that group chat. Right, the director of national intelligence was in that group chat. Joseph Gabbard, correct me if I'm wrong. There were a number of high-level individuals on that group chat, so it only makes sense for the person setting up the group chat to assume, okay, well, if the VP is here, it's safe to say this list you gave me, everybody on this list, has security clearance and they can be added to this group chat. So when you have to think, you have to also, put in human error. Maybe they were creating 3 group chats that day. And this person, the journalist, was supposed to be on one of the group chats.
Or there's
That's
an assumption, yeah. But it can't happen.
But what I'm saying is that because we're talking, Kemi, you mentioned that when you see it's security, you
Yes.
should be extra
Yes.
cautious. I would say same goes for those who were creating the group.
Yeah.
Because after creating the group, you need to vet every name.
Faith. At this instance, let's not look at he did this, he didn't do this. The journalist is supposed to be the gatekeeper, right?
Yeah.
As a gatekeeper, if that information is going to harm your country, it's going to bring chaos, there is no need.
Question, this information was released after the strike.
Yeah,
Yes.
which means it was
Yes.
well
The
meant.
strike
It
was
wasn't meant-
successful.
It wasn't
So
meant to
if
harm.
exactly.
That's why information
because
So
it was
you-
after the fact.
So you're doing show off.
No,
Yes, that's what it means.
just to be sure
You're
that
doing show off.
No, what
Because the strike has happened, it was successful, everybody got to bed.
and then the publisher needs to
So
sell
you
his
don't want to
product.
now tell us that you see, but that thing that happened, I knew it before it happened.
Yeah, and that's where that's where
Show
breaking
off.
news mentality comes in.
Show off.
He wanted to tell the world that look, I was, but the journalist said that's not bad. If I was a publisher, I would appreciate him. Oh, you had this story, you left it with you after the strike you published. We're still breaking the news.
It's now stale news.
Not
Yeah, but it's-
necessarily.
Yeah, not
has-
necessarily,
now-
but it was
Not
breaking.
necessarily
No,
stale.
it's
It was
now
still
stale
breaking.
news.
It was
because
breaking.
that
It was still
happened.
breaking.
The thing that everybody is concerned about, though, is the fact, just as Faith highlighted, that somebody who did not have security clearance was added to this group chat that had the vice president, the secretary of defense, and a lot of
very
high-level
big breach
individuals.
of
security
protocol,
clearance.
very big one.
Exactly.
But I think
So that is the main
it could have
concern
been
here.
deliberate.
How did this person get in
could
this
have
group
been
chat?
deliberate.
If you're in a group chat, if we were in a group chat for the podcast and I'm posting information about the podcast, it's fine and it's simple. If somebody who is not supposed to be in this group chat joins the group chat and is seeing the content we're putting out there, then that's a problem, right? So the fact that he posted
Maybe he hacked
information
himself into
on-
that place.
we don't. Well, we don't. Well,
That hasn't come up.
calm
so
down. Calm down.
I mean, it's an end-to-end encryption, which was why they used the platform Signal because
exactly.
of its security
Yeah,
measures.
So it's
that was not an option.
It could have been dead.
just as I said, it's an interesting story, and
Yeah.
obviously investigations are being carried out in the US. So we'll
Let's
just
see
keep
where
watching.
it ends.
As a matter of fact, to the Americans, it's a big deal. Back here, it's not. It's
Yeah,
nothing.
not so much.
One conversation,
That's why I say,
that has
is this part of the world we'll be looking for him by now?
one conversation that has come up is privacy expectations with online groups. So I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that, because if it's a group, what are the privacy expectations? I guess
mean-
the rules should have been given at the beginning of the.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very, very interesting observation. I mean, first of all, you as somebody who understands how social media works and how the internet works, it's only responsible of you if you're in a group chat to not post private information on there or sensitive information on there. To not put personal things about yourself, especially if you're not in a group chat that's just like your family or
Even on your family page.
I mean, I don't know what kind of family
Mind
you
your
have, bro.
mind.
My family is solid. We don't expose each other. I mean, but I'm being serious. If you think, like, if you're in a group chat that has like 50, 60 people, there's no telling who can take a screenshot of the chats being had there and put it out there. So in those kind of settings, it only makes sense that you not put your sensitive
Yeah, and I think
information.
one of the things that further compounded the conversation was the emojis that were used.
Fire and rockets.
Fire and rocket. What would that mean with the fist bump or
Yeah,
something?
I mean, they're excited now.
Yeah,
The strike
hitting
happened.
at
Yeah,
the
let's
enemy.
go. So
The Houthis are.
No,
have
but
always been-
who makes an announcement in a group chat that they've made a strike and start using emojis is open to interpretation.
it was a military strike to get the
Exactly.
The
terrorists.
Americans
The
were
terrorists were got. The terrorist was got. The Americans were successful.
So they
It's
were
something to be
happy.
excited. Look, these are human beings.
And he
Let's
thought
be
he
honest.
was
They're not robots.
speaking to
Yeah, he thought he was
very
talking
close
to a
associates.
close circuit of people, and the vice president went ahead to do. Yeah, we got it, and I don't think that's a horrible thing at all.
So
They're human
bottom
beings.
line, somebody didn't do a very good
This
job.
is this is past 12 now. Between this morning and now, I've texted a number of people, and I've probably used more than a dozen emojis. So it's a human thing. Let's not,
Yeah, but that wasn't on a group
Kemi
chat.
doesn't use
It wasn't
emojis,
on a
though.
group chat, right?
On some group chats,
And you were not talking about striking some people.
No, but
Exactly.
potato,
Thank
potato.
you. Moving on.
Don't do that. Don't do that. All right, fine.
All right, so moving on to our next and final topic, the situation with Annie Idibia. Yes, we're coming back home now. Something not as serious as the first topic, but serious. The situation between Annie Idibia and her husband, TuFace, also known as TuBaba.
Is he husband?
Well, no document has shown a dissolution of the marriage. So, yes, I would say husband. Still husband. Now, it's taking a new turn, as we know. He's in a relationship with a new woman. I think
A
her name is
lawmaker.
Natasha. Coincidentally. Different Natasha. Very different. Now he's, publicly displaying his affection for this new woman. Now, this development has followed quite a number of public discussions and controversies that have followed their marriage and TuBaba's past relationships also. Now, Annie is now faced with the public acknowledgement of her husband's new relationship. And, likely it's causing her some significant emotional distress.
Definitely.
And raising questions about the future of their marriage. And the public is likely observing her reactions and speculating on the next steps for both individuals. I'd like you to, I'd like to get your reactions to these developments, especially with regards to Annie herself. She's been quiet about it.
Yeah, but let me begin with TuFace. His attitude is not as good as his songs. That's my personal.
Ouch!
Yes.
Ouch! Ouch!
So but he comes across to me as someone who takes family life for granted. He doesn't pay real attention to family life. He sees family life as second in line of priorities of things to do. So, but it's not. To me, it didn't come to me as a surprise when I heard he has moved base to Benin, where he is now spends most of the time. But I don't know a lot about Anne, but if she had been around long enough to live with TuFace, I think she should take what's coming her way. I have told you, good songs from TuFace, good attitude, not one I can give a pass mark for. So it happens. And the public, of course, they are celebrities, both TuFace and the wife. Of course, the public will have something to chew upon. And that's what they're doing now. So, is it reconcilable? I don't think so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think it's. And it may affect TuFace's future ideas or projects. I don't think it's orchestrated by money. But I think it has a little to do also with the fact that TuFace seemed to have inspired musically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think so too. So he may be looking for new grounds to break.
Oh, dear.
I mean,
dear.
first things first is celebrities are weird. Like, they're very strange people. If you just look at the way they behave.
You're a celeb yourself,
yeah.
so you're telling us you're weird.
I am. I'm not. Stop it. Who knows me? Do you know me?
I know you.
Celebrities are strange people. The way they act, the way they, live their lives is very weird. But again, you have to understand that by the time you're somebody who has lived most of your life basically in front of the public eye, especially in today's world where as a celebrity, privacy is almost non-existent. Wherever you go, people can just bring out their phones and take pictures of you. It does something to you. It's a very uncomfortable world to live in. I can just imagine waking up very early in the morning to leave my house and come to the office, and then there are people running after me in my car taking pictures. I would be very, very uncomfortable with that.
Oh, you'd smile?
So no. I mean, you might think it's cool for the first 2 days, but then by the third day, you're like, I'm just going to buy rice. Can people relax? Like, it's not that deep, right? So it kind of does something to you. But just as Anayo said, if you just look at the track record of this artist we're talking about here, this is somebody who, even as at the time when he was married, and the public assumed that he had an ideal marriage with his wife, Annie Idibia, somebody who was unfaithful numerous times. We saw it. It wasn't like he was doing it secretly. Somebody who has numerous children from different, women. And I mean, I think just if you look at all of that leading up to what's happening now, I don't think we should be that shocked at his behaviors. Quite unfortunate that his wife has to go through all the stuff she's going through. I heard initially he posted a comment on his Instagram page, took it down, then posted a video of him saying he's divorcing his wife. I mean, obviously there are better ways to handle that. You can simply have a conversation with your partner, or you guys can go to see a lawyer. It doesn't. You don't have to put it on the internet.
Yeah.
For one, that's why I say celebrities are strange. The fact that you feel that you owe the public an explanation as to how you and your partner are living your lives is something that I cannot wrap my head around significantly.
Kemi, you want to?
So.
Annie, if if I have one word for her now,
Yeah.
would be please move on with your life. Just move.
But Anaya said is not reconcilable. It's reconcilable now.
She should move on. This guy have severally, countless of time, told you to your face that I can do whatever I want.
How do you know he said that?
You're nothing.
Did he say it?
Actions speak louder than voice.
Well, true. But we don't know. What if he wakes up and says, you know what, I'm going to leave the girl. I want to come and be with you, and I want to be
your day. No leave. I don't want you again.
Maybe he wants to be a better person. People change now.
So who should waiting for him to come back?
No, she should go. But then if he comes back, it's reconcilable.
No, let me throw this into the conversation. The mom, that's TuFace mom, also made a video, and in that video, she talked about the possibility of the new flame using what's the word, jazz on her son.
Nobody jazzed that guy. He's fine.
Now the guy jazzed himself.
I don't think anybody did anything to him. He's very aware of what he's doing, and he's just as I say, look at his track record, right? This is not new.
Okay, so you agree now that he has a track record. When I said Annie should just move on with her life. The guy has a track record that
she should
severally.
Yeah, she should move on. As somebody who strongly thinks that families should not be broken apart, if for no other reason for your children.
So let me it is not workable anymore.
Kemi, let me explain.
No. Wait now.
Your blood is pumping now. Let me explain.
My blood is pumping.
Relax.
I know. I will not relax.
Calm down.
Sugar, on this matter, I will not relax.
Kemi, wait. Let me explain. Let me explain what I mean.
On this one,
let
I will not
me finish
relax.
my statement.
Annie should go on.
Let me finish my statement.
Forget this guy. Because he has severally told you you're worth nothing. That is why he will bring children. He will go outside of your marriage, father children, and now he will come on social media. I'm divorcing.
He's the scourge of the earth. Wait.
Are they legally married?
We don't know. But
because if they're legally married,
yes,
and you don't come on social media to say I'm divorcing you, and I see you frolicking with another woman,
let me explain what I
will
mean.
sue you. Sorry,
calm down.
Sorry for
well, that's
French.
You. That's you.
French.
So the thing is, colorful language. The point is this, right? I was simply saying, obviously she should move on. But if he comes back and says, listen, I want to try again. I want to get my life together. I want to be with you. As somebody,
after
calm
how
down
many
now.
times?
You're not even letting me make my point.
After how many times?
As somebody who really thinks that families should not be broken apart willy-nilly, right? Because I think the marriage is a very, very important institution, and you should do your best to make your marriage work. That being said, right? No, hear me now. Hear me.
Shige.
I think if they're married, I think if, as these things go on, if he wakes up tomorrow morning and says, you know what? Oh my God, what was I thinking? Annie's the best thing since sliced bread. I want her back. Who are you, Natasha? Get away from me. And he comes back to their house. I think she should be open to having a conversation with him to say, okay, let's think of how we can
do
make this
not
work.
agree. Even if he comes back, do not agree. Go on with your life. That guy have told you severally in countless ways that you're nothing to him. I'm sorry, but that's it. His actions have spoken louder than words. Okay. Don't let him in again.
Into where?
Into the house?
Into her life. Into her life.
Okay.
Don't let
into her life. I think at this point I'd like to bring the children, Because it seems like, with everything that is going on, there's no consideration for, the children.
Exactly.
He's going on social media and making that announcement. I'm wondering, has he had that conversation with the children? Because his kids are old enough to be on social media.
He did not consider these children in the first season. I said,
can
this guy,
we- can-
when they say, for yourself alone, have you heard that local balance word? For
And I
yourself
agree.
No, I
alone.
said
He
maybe
did not
the
consider his
spirit
children,
of,
he
the
did not
spirit
consider
of
his
music
wife.
has left TuFace. So and
The what?
the spirit of music, the muses, the spirit that controls music has left him, and he's looking for new grounds to break. Honestly, psychologically,
Yeah.
if he was singing,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have taken this decision.
I mean, you don't know that.
Sorry,
You don't know that too.
I'm telling you because
He was still frolicking while he was putting out music.
yeah, but
though.
this time around, he seemed
He's
to
on
be
another
This is
level.
on
going
another
full
level.
blast
Yes.
at this because he has nothing to.
He's upgraded.
Yes, so the muses have abandoned him.
Has
That's the spirit that controls the Greek.
So there are
Interesting.
conversations, though, that they had a rough marriage, that Annie could also be a handful. I mean, there were a lot of things on social media with regards to her outbursts, regarding either he says he was going out and he's traveled out and he's with Pero, the voice notes of her complaining. Some of his family members have also complained about, her outburst. And, so there's that conversation that, maybe he was going through hell and that's why.
I mean, I don't
If
know.
he's going through hell, family members complained. And it should be the mother now. This one never even start to. The mother don't they complain.
I mean, and maybe I'm not the only one seeing things this way, but nobody is perfect, right? People are a handful, ideally. Let me
okay,
calm down.
okay.
Why are you so agitated? Relax. Nobody is perfect, right? People glitch. Let's be honest, right? If you're with somebody, your partner's strengths and weaknesses. Your partner won't always be perfect. And again, this is why they tell people like know who you're marrying or know who you're going to be with, so that when they start moving funny, you know how to deal with it and how to handle
will
it.
you be able to know enough?
I mean,
There's always something-
know as much as you
Yeah,
can. And
yeah.
again, they've not been married for 2 years or 3. They've been married for over 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like this is not a new marriage.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
not in their 20s or 30s. These
And
are
I
like,
think he's known
so,
Annie since she was 15.
So I mean, for Christ's sake, if you've seen this person's character and you decide, look, I'm done putting up with it. I don't want to send
It could
money.
be the law
by
of
all
diminishing
means-
returns setting in. The marriage, it does.
Whoa.
No, yeah, you can.
What is diminishing?
Law of diminishing
Diminishing
returns.
returns.
What is
Wow,
it? What
how
is it
break
that's
that
diminishing?
down. How you brought economics into
What is
marriage now.
diminishing?
Really, law of diminishing
No,
return
yes,
in
because-
marriage.
Yeah, you said 15 years of marriage.
No, I say he's known her since she was 15 years old.
That could have been 10, 15 years ago.
But they didn't get married that
More
No,
than
no,
15 years
no.
ago now.
Yes, that knowing amounts to relationship. So it could have been, it's been there. So diminishing returns are setting. It does in affairs. It does.
What is
In I'm not
Listen.
going to.
Let's just use that.
law of diminishing return in marriage?
It does happen.
Yes. And then so everybody who gets bored with their partner should throw them away.
If you can't manage it very well, it becomes a problem.
Really?
Yes.
So that means the essence of marriage is lost.
I
It's
mean,
not
no,
lost.
This
at
one
a certain
shocked me.
point.
What?
I mean,
It does happen, but you
Again.
can manage it.
again, correct me if I'm wrong. At a certain
You're wrong.
point, you're not going to be as excited as you were like the day after you got
Yeah,
married,
that's right.
right?
Are you getting married just for excitement?
Of course.
No. Eh?
It's part of it. No, it's part of it. It depends on
No,
what
no,
you,
no,
it,
no,
it
no,
depends
no,
on what you mean by
relax, relax.
excitement. Excitement that
Sugar, are you
you're now
married?
to instead of what?
Sugar, are you
Wait,
married?
okay,
Calm it
sugar.
down.
I'm talking from the point of knowledge.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I said
So I'm
it
hearing
happens.
you.
Excitement does happen. Yes.
Yes.
You're moving
but
to-
you won't be excited every day.
Yeah, of course.
So
it
that's how many days you are not excited, you just go now.
Okay.
You power through, you stay in the times where there will be times that are not pleasant.
Yes.
But you power through those times. I think
Then
that's the whole point of a
that's to say, why
committed
don't people
relationship.
Move away from what.
But,
I
but
think that is
so
getting used to one thing, and then if you don't have the patience, you move to another place.
so but my,
Really?
That's what happens in some places. But
Okay, now I'm very concerned about your views on marriage. I'm not even going to lie. But my point is, if you bring this back to Annie, right, it's difficult to empathize with her right now. And
Why?
I'll tell you
Why
why.
is it so?
Why?
Because you've been married for over 10 years to this person. This person has been unfaithful to you multiple times, like you said. This person cheated on you again and again and again. At this point, it's not far-fetched to call TuFace idibia a serial cheat. This person has multiple children, multiple with different women. Not like with like only 2 women. He had multiple children, like somebody like Wizkid or the other artists. No, plethora of women, dozens of children. At what point did it occur to you?
Sugar, calm down.
At what point did it occur to you to say
calm down.
this person does not love me?
Sugar,
At one point you have to wake up and tell yourself, okay, this doesn't make sense
Okay,
anymore.
now you are
now.
Sugar is
calm
making
down.
sense.
Reason now.
It's making
Yeah.
sense, yeah.
So I mean, TuFace is his actions indicate that he's a shit person so far. But that being said, even her now, when you look at it, why are you coming out to complain now? If you look at his track, if you look at
she
his
hasn't said anything.
She hasn't said anything.
She hasn't said
If
anything.
you look at
actually.
his track
She's
record,
been on a media
you
blackout.
look at his track record so far, this should not be a shock to his fans. And if you are a TuFace fan, I suspect you right now because it speaks to your character. Yes, at a time like this, it's worrisome. Just think about it. Maybe it's just me though.
So wait, are you saying that every time he has cheated on her and he comes back on bended knees, she shouldn't have accepted him back?
You accept him the first time and forgive him. You accept him the second time and forgive him. From the third time, bro, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, what's the point? How many times do you need
agrees
to?
with me.
At one point, do you wake up and say, look, this diminishing returns is not returning again?
You've joined the economics.
At what point? You have to, no, I mean, you just have to be logical when it comes to some of these things.
So, but when we look at the cultural perspective, in Nigeria, how does this situation, how would you interpret the situation?
It depends on the culture. TuFace is a male. I don't know if to say that there's a male-dominated culture. Most people would not see anything wrong with what TuFace did. And that's why I said some people, I am not the one talking about diminishing returns. A lot of people say, well, you don't have to. Come to think of it, people go for second, third, fourth, fifth wives. Why did they do it? Not that they lost love for the first one. It's just that there's this, excitement when you move to a new subject.
Faith.
You keep using the word excitement, Anayo.
In a patriarchal society,
Yes.
The more the merrier.
What?
The more the merrier. For those who live in that society.
I give up.
In an ideal society, right? An ideal marriage institution. Let's not forget, marriage was instituted by God.
Thank
Right?
you. One man,
Marriage, one man
woman.
and one wife. Forever.
Well,
right? That's the whole point. At this point, what we are seeing is an aberration.
In the traditional African society, it wasn't like that. The more wives, the longer you live.
And we've seen the result the longer you live, really, and that's why we have family clashes. We've seen the result of those multiple marriages, in our villages. The children never get along.
The women never complained. Even then they were
The
five.
women never complained.
complained.
Yes, when they were five
Because
sharing
they
one
couldn't.
man.
Really,
Because
because
they
they didn't have a
couldn't.
voice.
Exactly. And it's not because they didn't want
Now
to.
that they have a voice, and
If you ask them, they would have preferred to be the only wife.
of course,
True.
But if you ask the men, you get a different reaction.
Because they're waiting for excitement.
Of course, but
You're discussing.
what's
Oh my
life
goodness.
without excitement anyway?
Mr. Excitement. Please, Mr. Excitement.
There's a
That's
lot
the
you
new
can
name,
do.
Mr. Excitement.
There's a lot you can do in life, right? You hear statements.
You read books.
You don't shade me. I know you're talking to just call my name. It's not, you don't have to cut corners. Listen,
Okay.
you hear men today make statements like, oh, men are inherently not monogamous, men should be with, like, inherently men are animals and they should be with like multiple women. I don't agree with that. I think that's filth, right? I think you very much can be a man who has good moral standings, who sees one person that you love and say, I want to be with this person for the rest of my life, and you're faithful to them till you die. I don't think that's unusual, right? What we're seeing today, unfortunately, is just a decay of morality in today's environment and society, which is very unfortunate. And that's why you have people in today's world. Today, if you go out and have conversations with people, there are people who support what TuFace is doing, who see no issue with it whatsoever, right? But the truth is, institutionally, if you take a step back and look, that's wrong. Fundamentally, it's wrong. In an ideal society, in an ideal marriage institution, with an ideal moral compass, it's not
And
right.
in a society where there's an increasing number of women, the 9 billion population of the world, how many of that are women?
Well, we hear that we hear that the population
Are you
is.
trying to use that to make
No, I'm
your
just
case?
saying.
We
For
hear
multiple
there
Let's
are
be
more
kind.
women than men
Let's
in
be
the world.
kind to those who can afford to marry more than one wife.
Really?
I can't do it, but let's be kind to people who can afford it. And let's also be kind to women who can agree to play second fiddle.
At this point, I don't know. I'm not sure where this conversation is going. I'm not
Unhealthy.
sure where it's going.
Okay.
But I think we need to realign. I think we need to come back to the center. I'm not sure what's going on
All
right
right,
now.
please
anymore.
go ahead. I just flipped off.
But I think we are out of time right
All right.
now, so we have to wrap up. So despite what Mr. Excitement is saying, I think for me the most important thing at the end of the day is those kids. They didn't ask to be born.
Sadly.
So I think the parents need to take responsibility on how they handle that, the kids. So with that, we've come to the end of today's Pod of View. Please remember to like, comment, and of course subscribe. Okay, we'll read your comments, and if there's an opportunity next episode, we'll probably react to some of them depending on the comments. But please be friendly. Thank you so much, and thank you guys.
And be excited.
Please don't.
And Mr. Excitement.
Please don't.